This is the podcast for people who want to give back, get involved, and do more in their community, but aren't sure where to start. I'm Stephanie Dyer, and every week my co-host Courtney Dickey and I explore real issues, share good stories, and highlight local nonprofits that are making a difference in Austin and beyond. So let's get started. But first, I have a confession. I only cook on special occasions. My husband married me for, I would guess, my personality, not my domestic skills. So once a week, we eat out as a family, usually at Chuy's or Las Palomas in Westlake. And these are little rituals, and they remind me of my childhood. So my dad had us every other weekend and every Wednesday night. And every Wednesday, it was Luby's or China Inn takeout without fail. If Luby's was the pick of the week, he'd enter the door with his dad joke that they ran out of pumpkin pie again. He knew how much I looked forward to the pumpkin pie. And I can still hear the crushed ice in the glass of 7-Up he'd pour for me, using a knife to make sure the ice didn't clump up. He'd cut up my chicken fried steak into tiny bits, just the way I liked it. And the three of us, my brother, my dad, and me, we'd settle in to watch Chuck Norris as Walker, Texas Ranger, or Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan do their thing on screen. We didn't have home-cooked meals, but we had a cherished routine. We had connection, and now I get to recreate that magic with my boys, more often than not, around restaurant tables. We're also a game family, so that could be categories, 20 questions, or our newest edition, Imposter. Restaurants give us the chance to put away our phones and play. No cooking, no cleaning, no rushing out to ACT tutoring or basketball practice or junior league or YMSL meetings. It's just time for the four of us to be together. But one night at Chuy's, something felt different. Our usual server, the one who always greets us with jalapeno ranch before we even sit down, he was visibly struggling. He was flustered, he was shaking, he was trying really hard not to cry. We soon learned that this was his first shift using a new system implemented after the national restaurant group that owns Olive Garden and Longhorn Steakhouse and Yard House and Ruth's Chris, Cheddar's, the Capitol Grill. Well, they now had their hands on Chuy's. And he was overwhelmed. And my husband and I quickly found ourselves more worried about his well-being than whatever villain our son was trying to guess in the game. And I can't imagine customers that don't know him like we do. He was having a rough day. And when he brought us more chips, I reached out and touched his arm and said, "It's okay. This is temporary. There's no rush. You're going to be okay." And at that moment, I could see him as I would see my own son. And my heart was breaking for him at that moment. And I think this is something that Mike and Sherry would be able to relate to. Who are Mike and Sherry? Great question. More to come. Keep listening. I have experienced this in corporate America for years, but was now seeing it firsthand in a place we love as a family. The emotional weight of corporate decisions falls hardest on the people at the front lines. In this case, the waitstaff, the bartenders, the hosts, the kitchen, the people who show up for us day in and day out to give our families those small, meaningful moments. It was this moment that made me look up who owned Chuy's. And our family has not said goodbye to Chuy's, but we are being more intentional about our choices and have since made Las Palomas the more frequent selection. The great news is that today I get to sit down with someone who understands this on a whole different level. Sam Hellman-Mass, co-founder and owner of some of Austin's most acclaimed restaurants, Suerte, Este, and Bartoti, isn't just passionate about food, he's passionate about people. That's why he started the Mike and Sherry Project, a nonprofit dedicated to providing accessible, high-quality mental health care for Austin's service industry. Sam gets it. He knows that restaurant workers often carry heavy burdens, grief, stress, depression, while still showing up with a smile, and the Mike and Sherry Project is his way of showing up for them. But before we get to that, Courtney and I, we are not policy experts, but we are two eligible voters here in Austin, and we are starting to try to understand Proposition Q, a tax rate election on the November 4th ballot. If it is passed, Prop Q would raise approximately $110 million for housing, parks, public health, displacement prevention, and more, and covers a current $33 million deficit. So Court and I agree that the outcomes are worthwhile. I hope most people would agree with it as well. But with a $6.3 billion city budget already in play, and deep questions about efficiency and trust in government, it's fair to wonder, should we raise property taxes in a city that's already becoming unaffordable for so many? After all, Court and I have discussed this, that during recent disasters like the Kerr County floods or watching documentaries like Katrina Come Hell or High Water, it's often community that shows up faster than government. And if the outcome of Prop Q is that it does not pass, how will Austin ultimately show up for issues like the steep increase in young people facing homelessness? That's worth reflecting on too. All right, let's get into it and escape into a cause. Hey, Courtney.
Hi, Stephanie.
Today, we're going to talk about something that's actually very relevant in Austin.
Okay.
We're going to talk about
Longhorn football.
always relevant.
Always relevant.
Even out of season relevant.
It's true.
Specific to this week, Proposition Q.
Yes. Does voting start this week?
It starts, early voting starts this week.
Okay.
And the election day is November 4th.
Of course.
Okay.
Remember. Yep. Got it.
I don't want to get into yes or no Prop Q. I think
Yeah.
it's very nuanced. I think it's very difficult for the average person to understand what they're voting for.
Oh, that's why there's so low participation, because they don't understand, everything that's on a ballot, regardless of if we're voting for officials or on causes, issues, statutes, propositions. Yeah.
I wonder what the participation rate will be, because this will be the steepest property tax.
I know. Yeah. This one hits home.
Yeah.
Quite literally. You're home.
Let's talk about what Prop
is
Q
Prop
is.
Q?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I did some research. Actually,
Okay.
really good Austin American Statesman article
Love
that
them.
breaks it down.
Great.
So I'll try and summarize some of that.
Okay.
The proposal is the steepest tax rate hike in 20 years. City Council approved a $6.3 billion budget, but we have a deficit.
Sure.
Okay, $33 million deficit. Prop Q, if voted yes, will create an additional $110 million in revenue.
Okay.
For someone who has a $500,000 home, there'll be an additional $300 to their tax bill, right? Because this is just the City of Austin line.
Right.
It's a 20% increase to that line of your property taxes. And this is far higher than the 3.5% annual cap that was set by the Texas legislature.
That's right.
In 2019.
So how are they getting around it?
Which, of course, that was part of the effort to keep property taxes down.
I know.
So the way they get around it is by having this election.
It's
Having this vote.
this vote as an exception to the state.
Yeah,
mandate.
so you get over that mandate by having a tax rate election.
And that's where we are.
And that's where we are.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so right now it's less than 48 cents per $100 of your tax appraised value, and that would go up to 57 cents. So a 20% increase, creating the $110 million in revenue.
Which would obviously fill, you said the deficit's $33 million?
Correct.
So this is putting us in the black.
Right.
And what is this money going towards, Steph?
Yes. Let's talk
We just
about
know
that.
the Austin budget.
I think that $33 million is the deficit, and I think they said that anything's like they'll have to go back to the drawing board. Anything is up for grabs to remove from the budget.
Yes.
The incremental is notably helping under 4 categories. One is homelessness programs, so rehousing units, moving assistance for people leaving shelters. 2, park maintenance. 3, public health. And 4, safety. This also includes fire department overtime, $8.3 million in parks maintenance and wildfire prevention, which wildfire prevention seems like a very government.
Very much.
And so
yeah.
this also goes back to the topic of how much should government take care of things and how much should we depend on private donations?
Yes.
Or corporate donations.
Yes. Agreed. Because part of this money, as you're discussing, is not just safety and public welfare. It's also the unhoused population and medical treatment for the unhoused population. And there are also nonprofits that target those issues, right? And so to your point, what's the responsibility of the government? And when we say the government, the tax-abiding citizens.
Right. And there's of course
private
local,
nonprofits.
state, federal. We have sales tax every time we purchase something. I think the difficult part, this is so nuanced, because I think anyone hears those programs and they say, I want to help those programs. I talked to LifeWorks recently.
Yeah.
Young homelessness has quadrupled in Austin, right? Austin's becoming less affordable to live in.
And
But then
Prop
here we
Q
are.
supports
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
I know.
Here we
Isn't that
are.
interesting.
Increasing affordability.
This is a very interesting. It's almost a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it? That we are increasing the cost to live here by putting additional amounts assessed on your property taxes. But that is to go for those who cannot afford to live in the city and buy their own housing.
Totally. Do you want to hear some people who favor it and don't favor it?
Yes, I would love that.
I don't know. It's not individuals, but
Yeah.
majority,
Voices.
right. Majority of city council favors it, homelessness advocates. There's 2 city employee unions because I think there is an increase also to EMS. So I think EMS leadership.
Yeah.
Caritas of Austin.
They help the unhoused population.
Yes.
Yeah.
Travis County Democratic Party narrowly favors it.
Okay.
Not in favor is Austin's business community. I don't really know what that means, but Chamber of Commerce was listed on there. A lot of real estate associations.
I was going to say, I wonder if, I want to hear the rest of the list, but I wonder if businesses are getting involved because they're trying to recruit talent. And in order to recruit talent, they're having to say, they have to sell Austin. And it's hard to sell Austin if that talent can't afford to live here. I don't know.
I think
That's
it's a
my
combination of that.
Yeah.
And if you own an office or you own any real estate here as a business.
That's true. Yes. Most is least, but you're right.
Yeah. And then neutral was the Austin Fire Association and the Austin Police Association. So they didn't want to take a stance.
Oh, now that's interesting.
It is. Because there was
I thought it was going towards police.
Fire department overtime.
Oh, just fire. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I think anyone looks at those programs and they say, I want to help.
Yes, of course.
So I think where it becomes difficult is how much should this be coming out of something like our property taxes, which I'm already complaining about.
Of course we are.
And
I'm protesting.
I am actually in a good point in my career where I'm still making more money.
Yeah.
As my career
Yes.
progresses. There are a lot of people on the other side of this or that aren't seeing substantial growth in their income.
Yes.
That puts them in a difficult position.
Absolutely. Or the jobless rates
Yes.
are also increasing right now. So
It's not a good job market.
No, it's not.
The other part that confuses me, and I think this is where people have distrust in government, and so they say, I want to help,
Yeah.
but I don't know how much I trust the government with my funds.
Yes.
Where I would maybe rather give it straight to a nonprofit that's boots on the ground. But some of this,
Yeah.
of course, get to those nonprofit organizations.
Yeah.
I looked into it. 2019, we had $671 million in property tax revenue. 2023, $989 million. So that's a 47% increase in 4 years.
We're at $1 billion basically at this point.
That's right.
Yeah.
And population ranges. The U.S. Census Bureau, it says less than 1% we've increased in population. The city of Austin maxes out at 4% over that same time. Yet property tax revenue increased by 47%. And we're asking to increase our property taxes by 20%, more than over 20 years of any type of request. It just, the numbers don't seem right.
No.
So that's confusing. And
Yeah.
then talking about government shutdown, right?
Yep.
Okay. Another reason why it's like, how do I trust?
Agreed.
So I tried fact checking some of these numbers. I ended up having to just go to ChatGPT because the U.S. Census Bureau, when I went to their website, it says, due to the lapse of federal funding, portions of the website are not being updated. Any inquiries will not be answered until appropriations are enacted. And then it routed me after it gave me that 10-second hold time to Quick Facts is currently undergoing a maintenance cycle. Please check back later. So I couldn't even verify some of these numbers.
Yeah.
But less than 1% to 4% population growth. Also, I wanted to compare kind of just charitable giving and public sector giving. We've talked about this with the government.
Yeah.
The OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development.
Okay.
Okay, OECD. This is also where government funds are going because it's 38 countries that are part of these members that say, how much do we spend on public sector growth? I looked at those numbers and they were conflicting in the report. I wanted to know, how does the U.S. compare to other countries? They say anywhere from like 20 to 30% is typically how much percentage of GDP that goes back to health and pensions and workforce and those public services, government social spending. It said 30% of U.S. was at the max, like was with France, right? Or aligned with France's percentage. And then I go to the figure that it linked and it says 19% in the figure. So, I mean, going back to government trust, I'm like, I don't even know the data I'm looking at. It's wild.
It is wild. And it's so funny because remember we talked about the scrutiny that so many people put nonprofits under, right? Like, I don't know if the money's really going and I need you to prove where every cent is being attributed to. And here we've got the government, which arguably, I mean, I don't know, has probably a larger trust factor than nonprofits on any given day, and they can't support their numbers.
No, they really can't. Courtney, I mean, my background is in accounting,
You do
right? I am
numbers.
very into the numbers, very into
Tie it
fact
out.
checking.
Yes.
Tie it out.
Yes.
Right? Which is why I had so many problems with Doge, with them not being able to do basic tie outs before reporting their numbers.
Right.
they just need an accountant on their team to do the bare minimum. But when I looked at that report, I'm like, our tax funds are going towards that. And it says 30%. I literally click the link and the chart says 19%. And I'm just, it's so confusing.
That's a big variance. Yeah.
Huge.
I know.
So anyway, that was part of my trying to just kind of tie out, like, what should we expect? Because how do we deal with all this information and whether we should say yes or no when it goes to great services that we know we need help.
And it feels a little bit different, right? For somebody who does want to assist those particular communities and does want to give back and does want to contribute, one could argue like, okay, well, then you shouldn't fight this, right? Because you're doing exactly what you're attempting to do. However, I think people also like to feel in control of their finances. They're planners. Budget is important. And so to be forced into this continual donation, if you want to look at it like that, that is probably not the preferred mechanism that those who want to contribute want to use, right? They want to look at their budget. Perhaps there's a time of year where they have a surplus, and that is when they give from their, treasure in order to help those without. I think it's the choice being taken away that also sort of feels uncomfortable here. Like, it sounds like very good initiatives, and it's something I would support. I'd like to decide how I support those, right? And when, according to my family's budget and my schedule, and to the organizations that I know it will best benefit.
Absolutely, especially when you're considering that the overall budget is $6.3 billion.
Yes.
And this is $110 million additional revenue dollars.
That's a great point.
I want to better understand the entire budget because to have the highest property tax hike proposed in a time where property tax revenue has grown 47% in 4 years.
That's crazy.
Where is the deficit coming from? I don't understand it. And so that's why, I've only looked at the numbers for an hour and a half, right? But most Austinites, I don't think even look at this. They just go, do I want to help people? Yes or no? Or do I want that to be forced into giving additional revenue? Depending on how you look at it, I just think it's so nuanced.
Yes.
And very difficult to unpack.
And so well done to the Statesman and other periodicals who are writing about this to inform, to educate. So if you do need a crash course on what this is, go research it, go learn, go read, and hopefully you'll make an informed decision. And go vote.
Go vote.
Have this privilege and this right. And, the word democracy and freedoms is getting thrown around a lot lately, given current social position and climate. You have a right to vote. Go exercise it.
Go vote. And just so you all know, no matter where Prop Q lands, it will still increase the maximum cap of 3.5%.
Yep.
And Travis County has already voted to raise its property tax rate by 9.12% next year, a one-time increase tied to the governor's disaster declaration after July's floods. So just knowing your property taxes will go up irrespective.
Regardless.
So anyway,
the question is just how high?
How high? Yep.
Gosh.
All right. Thanks, Court.
Thanks, Steph.
We'll be right back. Escape into a Cause is sponsored by Nightlight Insurance Agency. You know how a nightlight gives you comfort and peace of mind in the dark? That's exactly what Nightlight aims to do. Guide you through life's uncertainties with personalized insurance for your home, auto, business, and more. Nightlight Insurance strives to provide its clients the best coverage at the best price without sacrificing on customer service. Here's what one client had to say. Nightlight was able to lower our car insurance significantly, answered all our questions, and returned our calls promptly. Very professional, would highly recommend. So it's no surprise Nightlight has a 5-star rating on Google. Nightlight also makes this podcast possible by covering production costs so all other sponsorship dollars and gifts can go directly to nonprofits and volunteers. And as part of their mission to give back, Nightlight proudly donates $1,000 to every nonprofit we interview. If you are a sponsor interested in giving back to our podcast, please find us on social media and let us know. Nightlight is an agency focused on personalized service and giving back. See how much you could save and how good it feels to have peace of mind by visiting nightlightinsurance.com. Today, we're escaping into the Mike and Sherry project, and I have here Sam Hellman-Mass, who is the founder. Hi, Sam.
Hi.
You are an owner of a few restaurants here
That's
in
right.
town that are beloved by many Austinites.
Makes me very happy to hear you say that. Yeah, I agree.
Well, at least me.
Thank you.
Suerte is my number one spot to bring out-of-towners.
Thank you so much for all your support. We truly appreciate it.
And the Mike and Sherry Project is related to the industry you're in. Can you share a little bit about the mission?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. The mission, I think, is to help support the mental health of people that work in restaurants. That's
Great.
what the Mike and Sherry Project was started to do.
Yeah, really providing mental health services to those in your industry.
Yeah, when Suerte turned 1 year old, we wanted to throw a party to celebrate what we felt like had been a very fortunate first year for us.
And sorry, when was this, Sam?
2018. So
Great.
our 1 year anniversary would have been 2019 in March. Yeah, to do something to celebrate what we felt like we had a lot of good fortune and to throw a party and to do something to give back to a cause we believed in. And so we wanted to do something to support the mental health of people that work in restaurants and bars. And we threw a party and raised around $5,000 and found an organization in Austin called Capital Area Counseling, which has been around for about 40 years, that does income-based mental health counseling, meaning there's a sliding scale. The less money that you earn, the less money you would pay for an appointment. I can't even remember the original, first, if we just gave them some money and said, if someone says they work in a restaurant, use this money to pay for their appointment. I can't even remember the very first way that we started collaborating with them, but it kind of over the first year morphed into being a collection of restaurants that were members that offered services to all their employees, where the services would be offered at a fixed fee and the cost would be shared. Part would be paid by the restaurant and part would be paid by the employee seeking services.
That's great. And of course, the Mike and Sherry Project is a little bit different than some other nonprofits we've interviewed. 100% of the revenue that's being raised goes straight through to your partner, the Capital Area Counseling, CAC.
Yes,
correct?
to date, all the money that's raised has gone directly to Capital Area Counseling, which is a 501c3, with the exceptions being really if we had a big event to execute, we were the partner for the Statesman 10K, and there was a lot of coordination going into doing that needed someone's time to execute and be a good partner that, a little bit was paid to someone to help us. And I can't even remember if that was paid for out of donations or if our restaurant or another person that's helped a lot is Matt Lucky and FBR, which runs a lot of restaurants and bars in town. Matt has been a real support to me and to the organization to help keep this going. But yeah, occasionally we've had a stipend to give people a few dollars that when we've needed real help to execute something.
I like that when we talked, you were talking about how this is really just organically growing to serve those that are working in the industry here in Austin.
Yeah, we had some conversations early on when we were first getting started. What do we want this to be? And it was thrown out there at some different points of hey, do we want to expand and grow this and start a thing that could be scaled to different cities in Texas or around the country? And those of us that are, I don't know, I have 2 kids and a full-time, that's something that takes a lot of my attention in the restaurants and what we're doing. And it's things why do we want this to exist as something in our community that we think is positive and meaningful? If it grows beyond that, great. But I think the commitment and focus that it would take to scale and grow it we just want this to exist for our community in Austin for now and let it be organic and take it where it goes.
I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful that you are serving Austinites or those that are working in certain partner restaurants. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just going to throw this out there that, I think there were less than a dozen founding restaurants at the beginning. And that includes, of course, your restaurant. Suerte includes Odd Duck, Barley Swine, Bufalina, Franklin Barbecue. A lot of these every Austinite knows, right?
Yep.
But it's really expanded into a lot of partner restaurants that can serve other wait staff. And
wait staff, kitchen services
Yep.
are offered in English and Spanish. They're offered in person and virtually. Yeah, I think that on the website, the mikeandsherryproject.com, I think it lists quite a bit of member restaurants. I wonder if it even has some member restaurants that aren't listed on there, but it's quite a few.
It is. And just because I think everyone will relate to at least one of these. La Vaca, Foreign and Domestic, Yard Bar, Patrizi's, Easy Tiger, the Peach Tortilla, Bar Peach, right? Just kind of just going through Drink Well, just a few of these to highlight. I think everyone has been to at least one of these. I know Este is one of yours as well.
Yeah, Este and Bar Tortilla are our other 2 restaurants. And of course, we're also offering services at those restaurants.
Okay. And I just had a great meal at Este.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Bolden Acres, Bambino, Home Slice Pizza. I just listed a few of these because if you enjoy going to these places, I think that's where this can be a project that can be close to your heart, that you're like, these are the places that I get to bring people, guests from out of town. I get to go to a table. I'll tell you that just me and my family, when we go to a restaurant, it's our favorite time because phones are put away. We are able to have a meal and we're able to enjoy each other's company. We play a lot of games like categories and we just have a lot of fun. So I really do think the restaurants, especially in Austin, serve a beautiful purpose for connecting and getting together with others and enjoying a great meal. So I think it's fantastic what y'all are doing. And I know y'all don't have an annual impact report, but y'all have made a lot of impact already. So I think over 6,400 mental health appointments that you've been able to serve.
Yeah, that's what's on the website. Capital Area Counseling, keep statistics. They would have the most up to date, but I think it's at least that many, if not quite a bit more. I know measuring the impact is something that's important in the nonprofit world, especially if you're trying to do more. And I personally, I've just been more focused on just keeping things going and trying to, I don't know, have longevity, and that all the people that are pitching in to help feel excited, that anyone that's trying to get services, if they're wondering how to do so, that they're able to do so. I'm not the best record keeper of those like statistics perhaps, but I know that Capital Area Counseling could probably speak more to those measurable things.
I think a lot of people don't go forward and do things that they want to do because they feel it needs to be perfect or it needs to be this huge scaled thing. And so I think it's really great what you're doing. You saw a need and you said, I'm a very busy person. And the other people that wanted to join in on this are probably very busy people. And y'all just said, let's just do it. Yeah.
I think that's true. I think I learned that like starting a nonprofit is just as much of an endeavor as starting a for-profit business. And Capital Area Counseling has done, I think, a wonderful job of offering affordable services to people. You know, people that work in restaurants, they're humans. They have all the same problems that humans have. They have relationships. Sometimes they have children. They have parents. They have substance abuse. They have all those issues. And so, you know, it's not a perfect solution that's fixing every problem in everybody's life, but it is an option that perhaps wouldn't be available if we weren't doing this.
Sam, I'm sure people want to know, who are Mike and Sherry? Can you share their story?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I moved to Austin about 15 years ago, I was working at a restaurant called Barley Swine that at the time was on South Lamar. Now it's on North Burnett. Incredible restaurant. I'm no longer involved, in all the credit to the entrepreneurs and the chefs that are working there because it's really an incredible place. But Mike and Sherry were two customers that would come in. They would come in all the time when we were there, and they were just like, they were some of our favorite customers, right? They would connect with all the different staff in a way that was just like really special and genuine. They would ask people how they were doing in their life and really like be there for people genuinely. And so kind of inspired by them, the project was kind of named in their honor. As, you know, I think they would look at, as they call them, the kids that are working in restaurants, even though a lot of those kids are probably adults, but that's maybe how they saw them, as like extended family to them, and the way that they would, I don't know, care for them, look after them, communicate with them, wanted to do something to honor kind of just how they were. So that's kind of was I don't know, it's a simple name. It wasn't kind of overthought. It came from like a real story and connection to two people that, you know, were in my life, our lives in the restaurants. And so that was the inspiration for the name of Mike and Sherry Project.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot more fun if they were sitting here for sure. They're awesome, very funny, especially Sherry's very funny. They're both funny, but Sherry's funnier.
Oh, that's great. Okay, maybe I've got to figure out how to get a drink with them.
You might.
What's great is that it seems like they really understand community.
For sure. Mike had one of the funniest lines to me ever when I was getting to know him. I asked him what he did, and he was like, he called himself an entrepreneur because he's done a lot of shit. That was how he described it.
I have not heard that one yet.
I've never heard that either.
That's hilarious, though.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely need to get a drink with them. And probably at Suerte, because I'm telling you, I'm not kidding you. So I work around the corner from Suerte, and every time someone comes from out of town, we're like, let's just pop in. And it's usually a wait. I don't think we've ever been sat down immediately, but it's worth the wait, and we love it. So
thank you for your kind words. That means a lot. That's for people that work in restaurants. I think I wouldn't choose that career if you didn't get happiness yourself from someone else getting enjoyment. So for me in the restaurant industry, hearing that you enjoy it, that's like fuel for us. So thank you for saying that. It's very kind.
Yeah. And I don't have very much insight into your industry. I did watch Bear. Was it Bear?
I haven't watched it, but lots of people have. It's like a very famous show. I think I need to watch that.
Yeah. My husband's watched the whole thing. I've watched, I think, season 1, but it seems very stressful.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but we serve a lot of people in our restaurants, but we try to keep a level head about ourselves ourselves and make sure that we know what it's like to do everyone's job. And we're not asking anyone to do something we wouldn't do ourselves, and that we have a set of values that we try to guide how we treat each other every day, like kindness, every person is significant, accountability, continual improvement. Those are all things that we think about. So I hope that our kitchens are not like the more scary places that you see on the... I haven't seen the show, so I can't speak to it.
Sorry, by the way, for listeners that don't know Bear, it's about someone opening up a restaurant, essentially. I think that's the easy way to say it. Okay, great. So that was a great story about Mike and Sherry. Really love that. I also make every guest say a quote unquote good brag about themselves. Is there anything that you can share that you're proud of about yourself that maybe lends a hand into either nonprofits, community, giving back?
I think something that's, I guess, new for me as a parent of a kid that's now going to turn 5 is like I've really enjoyed being involved in his soccer league. That's a lot of kids that are from Spanish-speaking backgrounds that really love the sport of soccer. And I've been really involved in that, and it's been great to try to take some families to come eat at the restaurants or go see a soccer game. So yeah, that's been really joyful for me to be connected to fans of that sport and the kids and the parents.
That's very cool. I remember growing up, so my dad's a family doctor in a very small office, only doctor, and just going in, and the one thing he had on his walls were all of our soccer teams that he sponsored, and he loved it. So it's really cool, and it's really neat because I think as an adult, I look back and go, wow, he was really busy, but he put in the time there. So you should feel really proud about that.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So now we want listeners to earn some chances for quote unquote good bragging rights. So we want them to talk all about the Mike and Sherry Project, CAC. We want them to talk about how they can give back. What are some ways that they can help?
Through the Mike and Sherry website, there's a link to donate. Like in the past, we've had a couple really big events that have brought in some real resources for capital area counseling. We were the sponsor for the Statesman's 10K for 2 years in a row. We're very grateful for that. They have different charitable partners now, which is awesome. Tito's has always supported the Mike and Sherry Project a lot from the beginning, and a lot of other people and organizations too. But I would say right now, if anyone feels generous to donate, the Mike and Sherry Project has a donate button that goes to Capital Area Counseling that is a registered 501c3. And I'd say if anyone was particularly inspired by contributing their own time, there's a contact us form on that website as well to send a note to say, hey, who you are and maybe what you think you could do to help out. It's lifted me up along the way that I think it's like when you're doing something good, maybe you have an idea that you're on the right path when people you don't know or are just meeting kind of come out and say like, hey, like, I love what you're doing. How can I help? And that's happened with the Mike and Sherry Project a lot on the way. And I don't know, be very grateful for all those people and all those times where someone saw what we were doing and say like, hey, like, I want to chip in or I want to help out.
Yeah. Great. And Texas Stars Foundation gives us a few tickets to give away. Is there anyone that you think if we had 4 tickets to give away to a Texas Stars game that anyone would be interested that has been giving back?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, Texas Stars is hockey.
That's right.
Okay. I'm not a huge hockey guy. Matt Lucky, one of the people that started FBR that has been a big part of this project, he's a big hockey fan. I'd also say if any of the people at Capital Area Counseling are big hockey fans, they might love to go. So I can certainly think a little bit about that.
Let's connect.
I'm sure we can find someone that would enjoy it a ton. I will say, as someone that didn't grow up playing hockey, and I'm not a huge fan of the sport, it is a fun sport to see live. So definitely somebody will enjoy it.
It is actually so much fun. I do want to mention this because I am not the biggest fan of hockey, but when I go with my kids, it is so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Highly recommend. So I wanted to throw that out there because their season just kicked off on Friday, October 10th. And so we'll send 4 tickets your way for anyone who's given back to the Mike and Sherry Project.
Oh, wow. That's so generous.
Yeah. Thank you to Texas Stars Foundation.
Awesome.
Sam, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No, thanks for hearing about what we're doing and thinking that it was interesting and inspiring enough to be a part of a conversation on your show and letting people know that this still exists in the Austin community. I'm humbled by that and grateful that you took the time to get to know me and a little bit about what we've been doing. So thank you.
I love that you took the grassroots approach. And I can't tell you enough how happy I am to hear that there's people that just go and say, this is a problem that needs to be solved. I want to help. I want to give back. I don't have much time. And this is a great example that people, we talked about this on last week's episode about the abundance versus scarcity mindset. And when you're either scarce on time or money in terms of that mindset, just to think like, how can I give back? And this is a beautiful project.
Really appreciate you saying that and giving Suerte and myself some recognition for starting it. But really, I have to thank all the other people that have helped along the way, especially Capital Area Counseling. Like, they really rose to the challenge of trying to take on this endeavor and help people. And all the credit to them, and really a handful of other folks along the way that have really helped out.
All right. Thanks, Sam. I really appreciate it. I think what y'all are doing is beautiful and making an impact here in Austin. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. A huge thank you to Sam Hellman-Mass for taking the time to share the story behind the Mike and Sherry project. Whether it's Las Palomas with my family or Suerte with out-of-town colleagues, I am constantly reminded how much care and comfort restaurant staff bring to my life. Sam, thank you for reminding us what it looks like to be busy, yet still make space to give back. You saw a need in your industry and you showed up for it, and that is community. Do you want to support the mental health of Austin service industry workers? Of course you do. Donate by visiting mikeandsherryproject.com to make a contribution, and be kind. Tip your waiters, compliment the chef, and show appreciation for the people behind your favorite dining experiences. And don't forget about PropQ. Courtney and I just scratched the surface, so do your homework and make a plan to vote on November 4th. Thank you to Nightlight Insurance for sponsoring this episode and your $1,000 donation to the Mike and Sherry Project. Todd Thompson for editing and mixing. Ashlyn O'Neill for digital content management, and Just Push Record Studios for making this podcast possible. We will see you next week as we escape into a cause.